film that had been pretty much bloodless up till that point. It was kind of shocking. I was like, oh, well, this one's not going to be like, oh my God. It kind of came out of nowhere, you know. And for those of you keeping track at home, this is not our counter in this series, but there's 27 deaths in this film, and all of them are by Sanjuro's hand.
Yeah, I bet it. I wouldn't doubt it. So that's the thing that I was telling you about, where that's very much Kill Bill. That death at the end of this movie, right?
Yes, very much so. Now,
tease that.
A couple of last things then, Brandon. This was the highest grossing film from Toho Studios in 1962. And, according to my notes here, this was remade as Tsubaki Sanjuro in 2007. So, I don't know if we need to add another film to our list or not. We keep finding there's more remakes. We're like, we'll do Man with No Name. Oh, they're based off Yojimbo. Oh, they made a Bruce Willis version of this, and now there's another one. So we can talk about that off microphone if we want to add it. But it's a 2007 remake of this film. We'll do some research.
We'll figure it out. We'll let you know. See you in 5 weeks.
So there you go. That is Sanjuro, and obviously being a foreign film, there's not as much trivia as I might have on other films. I say that all the time now, Brent.
That's pretty good trivia.
But I think, I think you got a good flyover of some cool tidbits. I threw in some Godzilla facts, as I'm prone to do when we talk about Japanese films. And there you have it. There's Sanjuro. So let's just jump into it. I think this is a great film. I think it lived up to my high expectations from the first one. What about you?
I love this movie, and, jumping right out of the gate, I actually think this is better than the first movie. And the reason why I like it so much, I don't normally like funny movies, but the comedy in this movie really, really works for me. The comedic timing is really well done. And it's kind of weird to have this comedy be a follow-up to the movie we just got, because Yojimbo's a pretty serious film. Right? It's pretty dark. We got these, it starts off with that hand. We got this dreary town, this hopeless town. And here, we don't have that sense of hopelessness. And I think it really plays well. And this is one of the really interesting things about this character and what can be done with it. And why I would love to have seen more Sanjuro films. So I don't know. That's what I love about it, is the comedy. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it works for this film because Sanjuro is he's kind of a sacrilegious character. He's very unpretentious, and he leads himself to comedy well because he creates a lot of unintentional comedy just with his attitude towards all the other characters. Yeah. So that translates better into if you kind of want to let's have a more comedic angle about certain things. And you try to think of it today when franchises take crazy left turns. And they become parodies of themselves. And I'm like, would someone think that about this versus the first one if it was in today's context? But I don't think so, because it all seems very true to the character of Sanjuro. He's the same guy, and he's talking the same way to everybody. And there's even commentary about that, you guys just don't understand. That's how he is. When he's praising you, it sounds like criticism. And it's just funny to have the other characters talk about him in that way. And I think that informs a lot of why the humor works, because he's surrounded by a lot of silly characters, but no one. See, there's no one as comical as in the first film. There was that one guy who was like, "Oh, hey, I like you, Sanjuro," or remember that guy in the first one, kind of the goofy guy. He was straight up comic relief man. There was no real character specifically like that in this one. I mean, you could maybe see the intendants. I forgot everybody's title, but the guy, the magistrate, the guy that were trying to save his wife.
There was the Chamberlain and the Superintendent.
Yeah, okay. I think it was the Superintendent, or it might have been the Chamberlain. But the wife, the older woman, she was kind of funny, but at the same time, she had some great wisdom to share as well. So it all kind of balanced out. So there was no character in here. I was like, oh, well, this is the Jar Jar Binks of this film. You know what I mean?
Really? You would go there?
It all connects to Star Wars, Brandon.
Okay. Anyways, okay, so yes, I like that. You mentioned the wife. And what I like about the wife as well is she's this naive character, right? Where
she's just a little slow.
I don't know that I'd say that. She's just naive.
I'm just quoting Yojimbo.
Yes. So I would say that she's just naive, and my favorite character in this, aside from Sanjuro, is that one guy that they capture
Oh, absolutely.
and throw in the closet.
Absolutely. That is great. I love his whole little, like, if it's random, they're like, all right, we're not going to kill you. You can come with us. And they keep him in the closet, and they come back, and he's, like, eating a meal, and he's in a nice,
Yeah.
And they're like, what are you doing out here?
It's like, and he's like, I couldn't leave because the wife didn't think it would possible that I would escape, therefore I couldn't escape. And to me, that says something about like what people feel about Japanese honor, right? Like the honor system that they have and what they feel about honor. He's like, look, I can't take advantage of this woman's trust because she trusts that I'm not going to run away, so I can't run away.
And then he goes back in the closet on a regular basis after he's done talking to them. He's like, oh, gotta go back to my cell. And it's just really funny.
But he also gives them advice. He talks to them about things, and they're like, why are you doing this? And he says, well, I've been listening to you guys, and everything you're saying contradicts everything that I've been told about you guys. Right? So, like, there's a lesson there, too.
Know your enemy, and being indoctrinated from the other side is not healthy, and, you know, there's two sides to every story. Like, there's a lot of... This whole movie has all these... You know, and that's part of both these films, really have these little, like, universal truths. You know, I mean, even at the very first scene, they're talking about they went to this guy, they went to that guy, the intendant and the magistrate or whatever. I'm going to keep messing up these titles. I know you literally just told me what they were, but it's like, oh, this guy, he was as I expected. He was honorable. He wants to help us. It's great. Like, yeah, well, the other guy, he's like, hey, watch out. You know, the worst ones are always the ones you least expect. You know, people aren't what they seem. And these, I mean, yes, they seem very simple, but these are universal truths that people really should, you know, and can take to heart.
Right. And it's interesting to have Sanjuro listening in and giving them the advice by saying, look, like, I'm coming new into the situation. I don't know these people, but I bet you this and I bet you this. And
he's right on both accounts.
Right. And I mean, again, that's the story that they're writing, but it's also very interesting in that that's how he builds his trust with these characters, right? He gets them to hide in the floor, you know, and...
Very Star Wars. Never thought I'd be smuggling myself in them.
Yes. But then he's also able to bluff the bad guys when they come in there. He's like, look, you know, I'm having a nap and you're bugging me.
Well, I like, again, and I mentioned this in the first conversation we had, you know, Sanjuro, he's so clever, and he's like an unstoppable force when it comes to sword fighting, but he's not perfect. He makes mistakes, and other people mess stuff up for him, and he has to be adaptable. Like, and that happened in the first film, and it happened in this one. It'd be different.
Yep.
If he was just mowing down people, if he was just in God mode, he was 5 steps ahead of everybody, it would not be an interesting story. You know, it'd be like, oh, look, this guy just he faces no obstacles. All right, because part of the drama is like, oh, could he fail? You don't know. Like, because in the first one, he got captured and beat up, and that took me by surprise because he'd be on top of his game the whole movie. And in this one, I think my favorite little like sequence of is they concoct this whole story of like he's gonna go tell the bad army like, hey, I was asleep on the second level of this gate and I overheard this, and you guys all need to come out here. And then he goes off to do it, and then the guy's like, oh God, wait, that temple doesn't have a second gate. And then you cut back to Sanjuro. He's like, hey, so I was asleep on the second level. And then we cut back and I'm like, oh no, are they going to catch him? And then the guys back at home are like, well, we didn't catch it at first either, so maybe they won't. And I don't know. I liked that. That was nothing. He didn't get in trouble immediately, but they eventually figured it out. And I liked it. He's fallible. You know, I mean, he's unstoppable a lot, but he's also fallible. And that is what makes him such a cool character, because you're right, it would be unrealistic of like literally every single, you know, he had the perfect thing to say. He was 5 steps ahead. I mean, he's good enough as a fighter. We don't need him to be a complete like chess master as well when it comes to all that, you know?
Yeah. And then when he was kidnapped at the end, like he's tied up and he's like, well, you better put in the pink flowers because the pink flowers mean no good, don't attack, and the white flowers mean attack, because that was their signal at the end, was to drop these camellia flowers into the water of the stream, right? Because again, that's another thing too. They're like, look, let's just hide in this building right next door, because nobody's going to think to look for us right underneath their noses.
Right. Life lessons from Sanjuro.
Life lessons from Sanjuro. So, One of the things that I really love about this movie, beyond the characters and the plot, is the set design and the sound design of this movie as well. Like, I love this constant sound of birds that we get in this movie.
I was going to comment on that too. They really make you feel like you're outside.
Yeah. I don't know. I just love it. It's a small, subtle touch, but it really adds something to the film. Every time I watch this, I make a comment of it to myself. I'm like, man, I just love the sound of these birds, because they draw your attention to it, but it's not out of place.
Yeah, it's sometimes I think they may use that sound effect one too many times. Of the bird. Okay. That's my only criticism. Like it's like the same one, But other than that, no, I agree. It added life to what would have otherwise been a lifeless environment. And, it lets you know, are you in the courtyard? Are you inside? That kind of stuff. So, yes, the sound design, I did notice that as well, even though how the water was working with the stream.
Yeah. Well, I mean, birds, they only have one chirp.
Okay. Fair enough.
Have you never gone camping and you just hear the same bird over and over? Like, I don't know.
That's a good point. It's
yeah.
Now,
the other thing is the set design. Like, so one in particular is the first place. I don't know. I think it's the superintendent's place when they go there at the beginning and they throw the rock to make him think that the fish jumped.
Yeah, well, he's smart. He's like, hey, are there fish in here? And they're like, yeah. He's like, okay, good.
Yeah,
and that's how he finds out. And then they come out like, oh, well, it was just a fish. So good cover story.
But that whole set design, like that little house and that little river is just beautiful. Mm-hmm. Like that's some really, really great detail that they've put in there. Not to mention the place next door, right? With the fence and how the water goes through, the little stream that goes through from the one property to the next. Mm-hmm. I don't know, like it's a beautiful looking film, and I love the sets and I love how it's filmed. The widescreen photography in this really enhances it, and I really like watching old black and white movies in a 2:3:5:1 aspect ratio. Like it's I don't know, it's just I find it really, really beautiful to watch, and I just love the look of this movie.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of giant scope. I mean, I can't really think of one wide establishing shot in this whole movie, but it doesn't really detract from it because you're invested in the drama and the writing and the characters, and also the set design and sound design is interesting enough that you understand what the location is without having to see some giant matte painting or something. Although I mean they could have thrown one or two of those in, to be honest, but that's fine. Just to say. But yeah, I agree with you on all those counts. So did you find did you expect more violence in this film? Because I guess I did, coming from Yojimbo. I mean, I expected some severed limbs and maybe some blood. Now they made up for it at the end for sure.
Yes, they did.
But I mean, they were chopping people. I mean, that's the thing with swords, right? He's like, you're chopping people. Like, is he killing these guys? Like, I thought when 4 of the guys come to follow Sanjuro when he goes to sell his services to the other side to get information, I thought, oh, did they just kill those guys? And I'm like, oh no, I guess they just knocked their sword out of their hand or something. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, so the first sword fight, right?
He kills
like Sanjuro doesn't unsheath his sword at all, right? So like when he's in there and the guys are hiding,
right?
His sword is still in its sheath, and he's just beating them over the head with it.
Even when he goes outside?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I knew inside he was. I thought he went unsheathed outside, but
yeah, no, okay. he kept it sheathed the whole time, like inside and outside during that first battle.
That makes more sense then, because I'm like, man, he just killed like 10 other guys, and they're just going to leave him alone. But okay, I got you.
No, and that's an interesting thing about him too. Like he's confident enough as a character that he doesn't have to kill these people because he's maintaining the facade that he has no problem with these people. Mm-hmm. He just wants to nap, and it's like, leave me alone.
He's like, I just got up and I'm angry.
Right. So, but he's also showing his dominance over them, and that he doesn't even have to kill them in order to beat them.
And I love what the Harabe, I think the other guy's name is, his counterpart Ronin on the other side. He's like, all right, let's leave. It would take too long to kill this guy anyway. Because they had like 100 people there, and I'm like, what's going to happen here? So again, he has to use his wits, and when they go, when there's like a schism in the 9 other samurai, I guess, were they were samurai, right?
No, they weren't samurai.
They're just normal guys with swords. I mean, like
I think so. I think they were just normal. I don't know. They might have been.
I don't know what the
samurai.
terminology is, but with those when you have the 9, all right,
They were samurai guys.
Samurai guys, yeah, they're Padawan learners.